Hi, welcome to the Talk with T. Renee. I'm your host, T. Renee Mathis. The topic is depression. I have a wonderful actor here, Mr. Rayland Van Blake. And I told you that I really like your name, and it sounds really soap opera-ish. And guess what? You are a soap opera star.
Yes, I am. I spent some time on One Life to Live and All My Children in the Guiding Light as well.
I wonder, because when I was like, he's a handsome man.
Thank you very much. I'm flattered.
How was that experience? Because, unfortunately, and I was on One Life to Live a few times, unfortunately, a lot of the shows are gone. But how was the experience?
Oh, it was a wonderful experience for a new actor, especially as I was at that time. It's, they shoot a 40-minute show every day, which is a lot of work. So, when you're cutting your teeth and getting some experience on a set that's really moving and you have to be on point, like it's a great experience to have up top.
When you initially got it, because you were a new actor at that time, were you nervous? Were you like freaking out about it?
Well, I was very excited. I remember being very excited about it, just to have the opportunity to live what I had dreamed to do, which is to be an actor and to make money, to survive, make a living. I was a little bit nervous on set the first day, but after that, when you start to get to know the directors and the folks around you, you have a team of folks that know exactly what they're doing. It makes it a lot easier for you to sort of just focus and do what you're there to do. Yeah.
Now, you also an actor with the documentary The Face of Darkness, produced by Kenneth Todd Nelson and Squeaky Moore. How did you get involved with the project?
Well, I met Kenneth going back about 7 years ago now in New York, and he and I met in an acting class, and we became friends. And over the years, we've both gone through our ups and downs, and we've been able to sort of confide in each other with regards to those things. And when he let me know about the fact that he wanted to pursue a documentary and put together a PSA, I was really happy for him. I think that the subject matter is really important, and it's something that we as a community don't discuss.
Why is that? Why as a community we don't discuss it?
Well, it seems to be like a taboo thing. When you mention going to a psychiatrist or going to get therapy, it's always like, well, I'm not crazy, and it's that sort of attitude that sort of comes up that makes it almost as if there's like really something wrong with you if you go to seek help for rough patches that we all go through. It's a human thing. It's not, doesn't make you less than a person or less than a man if you admit that you're depressed or sad or going through a tough time and you're having a hard time coping or dealing with that.
Absolutely, I think so too, because what I love about it is that we all were brought on the project because of our talents, because our relationships with the producers, but also that, and I'll let you speak for yourself, that we also have some elements that we went through depression. One of our wonderful actors, J.S. Anderson, talked about his. Iman talked about his, even contemplating suicide. I'll share my story about losing my brother to cancer and being devastated and being depressed, thinking, how can I hurt myself? I know it's wrong, but guess what? I don't care. Do you have a personal story that you can share or share some elements, maybe not everything, but just something that you may have gone through as a black man living in New York City or the surrounding areas?
Sure. I mean, I know that I am looking back, reflecting back, I didn't know it at the time that I was actually going through it, but there was a point in time in my life where, weeks would go by and I wouldn't leave the house unless I absolutely had to. I could function when I absolutely needed to, but when I didn't have to, I wouldn't at all. I watched hours and hours of TV and just sat on a couch and, I ate. And there was a point in time where I put on a lot of weight.
Are you like my soulmate or my twin? No, I'm serious. These are issues that I've had, and I didn't think any other guy, would go through those things too. Why were you going through that?
Well, see, this is the thing. There wasn't anything that was a trigger. There wasn't anything specific that I had gone through. I know that at the time I was in court with regards to I had a young son at the time, and the custody and child support and rigmarole, and I spent a lot of time and a whole lot of money in court, and that was something that certainly took a toll. It was very, very stressful, and I didn't necessarily have a mechanism to or an outlet by which I could express how I felt about it, and I think I've internalized those things just because that's what we're sort of taught to do when you don't have anything else, or that's what you teach yourself to do. So it became one of those things where the cycle just sort of keeps going. It's a vicious cycle, and each time you get lower and lower. And it wasn't until I thought to myself, like, listen, I need to get some help, and pursued that I could actually recognize symptoms, if I started to feel down again, once I had come out of it.
That's good. Give me some of the symptoms that you were feeling, because it's oftentimes we don't understand the symptoms are always there. We just don't see them. What were some of yours?
I think some of my symptoms were obviously withdrawal, the lack of motivation to do the things that I knew I needed to do, just overeating. That's probably, I think I tend to be an emotional eater. Like when stuff bothers me, food is a comfort.
I hate it. So when you talked about, like, I love you right now, I'm like, let's bond after this. And so you recognized it, and what I loved about it is that you took action. What did you do?
Well, I went and saw a mental health expert, and it's funny because when I went, a lot of the choice that I wanted to make, I wanted someone that was of color, just because I believe that they, there are certain differences, and I think that a lot of the research that has been done, or sort of all of the books that have been written, have been based on studies on people who are not of color, and that's what the world of psychiatry, or the folks who help you with those issues.
I think so. And Asha, the beautiful therapist that we talked to earlier, she said she thinks it's about 10% or less than 10%. Wow. Because my therapist is not African American, and I was thinking I needed one that looks like me.
I think that, there are certain things, for me as a black male, and sort of trying to understand the reasons why our community seemingly specifically has such a strong taboo against, these feelings, or being able to express those things, is a throwback to a time where, like, the world that you lived in bondage, you didn't have time to be sad. You couldn't take a day off. You know what I mean? You couldn't take a mental health day because you were depressed or feeling blue. You had to stuff it down and go bale that cotton, or whatever it was you had to do in order to survive. It was a survival mechanism, and that sort of mind frame has been passed along, even though it doesn't necessarily have its application in your daily life anymore. It's okay, like now it's okay to be able to express yourself, and to teach your kids and your loved ones to be able to express themselves, and that there's support for you there, and it's okay to talk about it. It's all right to show your emotions.
And I like that. You are the second or third handsome African American person, and I keep pointing that out because we have people that have done successful things, and and you guys have said, and I'm saying too, things happen in life that take us there, and we need to get help. What can we do for the people that are outside, the boys, the men hanging around that decide to hit their girl, hit their partner, steal, rob, rape because they were hurt, because they, like one of my other guests, were raped. How can we begin to, just like you said, you were an educated black man, but yet you, Jazz, the other people, myself, we didn't have coping mechanisms on how to stop using drugs, stop eating, get out of bed. How can we begin to shift things?
Well, I think that this project is sort of in the vein. We have to bring light to these issues because a lot of people are out there going through this by themselves, feeling like they're all alone and not understanding that, not only are there other people like you, there are other people out there who are willing to help you. And so the best thing that we can do as a community is to shed as much light on the topic as we can and let people understand that, here's a new way of thinking about this. And, you don't have to feel bad or ashamed. You don't have to feel like you're less of a man than, if this is where you are in your life and you need some help to get out of that spot. So I think what we're doing here is a big deal in terms of moving forward to show people that this is a better way to go about things.
Absolutely, and we're going to end it there. I thank you for coming, and you hit on a good point. I want people to know there is help out there. I don't care where you're at, where you come from. There is help for you. Please go get the help that you think that you need. Talk to somebody, a friend, a therapist, a deacon at church, anybody, so that we can begin to move forward and have healthy dialogues. Rayland, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And this is our episode, Faces of Darkness, produced by Squeaky Moore, Kenneth Todd Nelson. It's a wonderful documentary about the conversations of mental health, specifically in the African American community, specifically in the African American community. Please get help if you need it. You've been watching The Talk with TLN. Thank you. There's no escape from the smell